Welcome to Family Law Talk, presented by Kirk Stange of Stange Law Firm, PC. Stange Law Firm is a family law firm in the St. Louis metro area with offices in Missouri and Illinois. Now, here's your host, Kirk Stange.
Welcome to Family Law Talk. My name is Kirk Stange, and I am one of the managing partners of Stange Law Firm, which is a family law firm with offices in Missouri and offices in Illinois and the St. Louis metro area. Well, welcome today. Welcome to today's topic, which is, are older kids impacted more by divorce than younger children? It's a very interesting topic. It's based on an article on our blog, IllinoisDivorceAttorneysBlog.com, dated February 13th, 2014. The title of the article is Older Kids More Impacted by Divorce Than Younger Children. Very interesting topic. We'll get to that here in just a second. But before we dive into the topic, I should state, as I always do, that the choice of a lawyer is an important decision that should not be based solely upon advertisements, and that the information you obtain today in this episode is general in nature, and it may not apply to specific factual or legal circumstance. Therefore, if you need specific legal advice, you should definitely consult an attorney who's licensed and competent to practice law in your specific jurisdiction. All right. Well, again, welcome to Family Law Talk with Stange Law Firm today. Very interesting topic, which is, are older kids impacted more by divorce than younger children? Again, this is based on a blog article on our blog, IllinoisDivorceAttorneysBlog.com, and the date of the article is February 13th, 2014, and the title sort of answers the question of the name of the episode today, which is, it indicates that according to particular research, which we're going to talk about, older kids are impacted more by divorce than younger children. So definitely an interesting topic, one that I think a lot of folks who are contemplating divorce or on the verge of a divorce, they probably spend a lot of time thinking about. I mean, I think a lot of the folks out there, especially the good parents out there, they're thinking, oh my goodness, what are the effects going to be on my kids? How are they going to be affected by this? And I think just about anybody out there would concede lots of folks out there stay in marriages, maybe unhappy marriages, with the idea that they're going to do it because a divorce is going to be bad on the kids. It'll have bad effect on the kids. So there are a lot of individuals out there that are just waiting until the kids are grown is kind of the idea before they go forward with a divorce. And again, I think a very noble goal. A lot of folks don't want to put their kids in the middle of a divorce. And so, again, the hope is if it's an unhappy marriage that they don't think they can fix, what a lot of individuals do is they wait, and they figure, we'll wait till the kids are out of the house and they're grown up and gone, and then we'll get divorced at that time. And then the viewpoint is that will be better on the kids at the end of the day than getting divorced while the kids are young, which can cause all kinds of dramatic consequences for kids. And so I think this is the viewpoint of a lot of individuals out there, and definitely a question a lot of people ask, which is, oh my goodness, how is this going to affect the kids? And am I better to stay in the marriage? Am I better to get divorced? If the case is going to end in a divorce, what are the effects going to be on the kids, and what can I do to help minimize the fallout for the kids so that they can lead and live happy and healthy lives? And so that's a question a lot of the folks out there are asking themselves. And obviously, I'd say to the listeners out there, the choice of whether or not to get divorced is obviously a serious decision, and no attorney can answer that question for you. That's ultimately a decision that you all would have to answer for yourselves. No good attorney is going to encourage parties to get divorced at any time if the marriage is a savable marriage. And so the listeners out there, if your marriage is savable, obviously that's the best solution. And then, for all of you out there, you're going to have to decide whether or not the marriage is one that can be fixed or one that inevitably is going to lead to a divorce. But what we're going to talk about today is just the statistics according to a book that was written called Changing Family Life Cycle. Was written by two individuals. I know I'm going to botch the name, so the listeners out there, bear with me. But one of the authors of the book is a lady named Judith Stern Peck, and the other individual who wrote the book was somebody named Jennifer R. Manikarian. and again, I'm probably botching that name, but those are the names of the two individuals that wrote the book. And if you go to IllinoisDivorceAttorneysBlog.com and you check on the blog entry, older kids more impacted by divorce than younger children, you go to the bottom, there's an article, a LinkedIn article on the Hayes Daily News, which is dated February 3rd, 2014, which has a link. And if you take that link, you'll go to this article on the Hayes Daily News, and you can find out more information about this topic as well. But according to these two individuals and the research and the data that they did, okay, so all I'm doing is in essence reciting what they found in terms of their research, and then they drew conclusions and wrote this book. But the viewpoint that they had, at least, is that older kids are impacted more by divorce than younger children, just looking at the statistics. And what the data that they looked at showed was that younger kids are often too young to remember their parents even being married, and they're often too young to really even remember the divorce, and so they're least affected by it. But now, if you read the book and you read this article, they're not saying that there's no effect on younger kids. In fact, there are huge effects on younger kids. But statistically speaking, younger kids tend to fare better than older kids when their parents divorce. I mean, older kids go through all kinds of things that frankly, according to their research, appear to be more dramatic on kids. For example, issues like changing schools happen in divorce. That's harder when kids are older, they've been more established in their school, and they've got friends, and so this can have a more dramatic effect on them. Moving. Oftentimes people end up having to move in the middle of a divorce. According to the data and the research, it was found that this was very hard on older children going through a divorce. Leaving friends and family that they're used to, that they're accustomed to. That's a lot harder on older kids and younger kids. And the article talks about contact between fathers and children, and I thought this data was remarkable. I mean, just really earth-shattering if you look at the numbers, if this is true. But according to this article on the Hayes Daily News, 50% of fathers had no direct contact with the children 1 year after the divorce. And then at 6 years post-divorce, less than 25% of fathers saw their children more than monthly. And that, I mean, if you think about that, that is just remarkable, just a huge number. And obviously that's tough on kids, older kids who are used to spending more time in the home growing up with their father being there. And so now all of a sudden, 6 years past divorce, these kids are seeing their dad really infrequently. Really infrequently. Less than 25% of fathers saw their children more than monthly, which is just really remarkable statistic. And so again, if you read the article, it talks about a lot of problems younger kids have when their parents get divorced, and some of the things that was discussed according to the article and the research and the data was that kids are younger, they can experience loyalty conflicts when parents divorce. They're often angry with their fathers because they don't have a whole lot of contact with their fathers. Talks about other problems in terms of young kids when their parents go through divorce. But as a whole, if you just look at the data, older kids seem to have a tough time. And so again, a lot of the listeners out there, a lot of people are, maybe early into the marriage, things aren't good, and the hope is they're going to stick through it, wait till the kids are grown, and then get divorced, and this will be better on the kids. At least according to this data, if you get divorced when your kids are 14, 15, 16, 17, in that range because you're trying to gut through the marriage, according to this data, the reality of the situation is that it actually turns out to be harder on the kids if you believe this data, if you believe the information in this book. And so, I think that's probably earth-shattering to a lot of the folks out there who are trying to do the right thing for their kids by sticking through the marriage. But at the end of the day, if they don't make it, marriage doesn't make it until the kids being adults, it appears as if this has really hard repercussions for the kids. So definitely an interesting result in terms of the data and the statistics that come from this study. So again, really interesting topic, one that I think is really pertinent because there are just so many people out there that their viewpoint is they're going to gut through the marriage in order to do the right thing for the kids, which obviously is a very noble goal. And obviously if you can save your marriage, that's a fantastic thing. And the one thing I'd say about the book and the study, at least the way I read it, doesn't really go into data in terms of the effect on adult children. So, I mean, let's say parents try to stick together and make it through the marriage, and the divorce takes place while, let's say, the kids are in their 20s or 30s. I mean, this study doesn't really go to, at least the way I read it, into what the effect would be on a child who is now grown and in their 20s and 30s at the time their parents divorced. But what this study does show is that, you know, older kids, and we're talking 14, 18, 16, 17, they hit those teenage years, parents get divorced. That can be an earth-shattering experience for those kids. And that, at least according to the statistics and the data, I mean, if you're a parent out there and you're worried about the effects on divorce on your kids, you know, I mean, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Oftentimes divorce comes when one parent or the other doesn't want it. But at least according to the data, it's very, very hard when you're dealing with older kids, teenage kids, and divorce can have a real effect on them. So definitely an interesting article, interesting data. Again, I'd encourage all the listeners out there that are interested in this topic to go to IllinoisDivorceAttorneysBlog.com, read our article dated February 13th, 2014, titled Older Kids More Impacted by Divorce Than Younger Children. Very interesting topic. Well, thanks for all the listeners for tuning in today. That concludes today's episode of Law Talk with Stange Law Firm. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Family Law Talk with Kirk Stange. Visit StangeLawFirm.com for more about today's topic, or to put Stange Law Firm to work for your family today.
Treat your party host with a Hy-Vee party tray. From meat, cheese, and charcuterie boards to shrimp and seafood trays and everything in between, Hy-Vee has the perfect signature platter to make your event extra special. And make sure to check out the chicken wing trays if you want a real crowd pleaser. Shop in-store or online at Hy-V.com. That's Hy-V.com.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.